And we basically had an electrical fire, and I've done some, at the time I didn't film anything because we were in the middle of a trip and I just wanted to get it put back together. This is some of the wires that you can see. The red wire is a new wire I just bought at AutoZone when we were on the trip, and I always carry crimpers and multimeters, stuff like that. So if you can see this, let me see if I can get this close enough. And this is nothing. This wire here is burnt up, as you can see the sheath just sloughing off there. This is the burn mark I was confronted with when we were camping in Idaho. And inside the space here, you know, we very easily could have burned this thing down. If you look at the top of the battery post, right here is all burnt. The bottom of the battery right here is a line. This wire got really hot enough to melt plastic. Dana and I've done a lot of soul searching on this, but our end result is, which I don't have all the parts here, so forgive me, but we have a 200 amp hour lithium battery. We have a Renogy DC to DC charger / MPPT charge controller. To that end, I have purchased 2 flexible solar panels, which I'll get out of the box here in just a minute, and some wiring that I think will come in handy. I've got an extension cable, I've got a splitter. The idea is I'll put these 2 panels up on the rib in front of the Max Air fan, which seems tailor-made for that. These are almost the exact proportion of that rib. End to end, I will use these guys to connect that. This is plan A, by the way, to connect that together. And then I will fish these wires through this bulkhead down a hole in the wall that I put yesterday, or 2 days ago now, where I have a fish tape kind of between the carpet. If you're a Casita owner and you're watching this, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. There's carpeted walls, roof, whatever, molded into the side of the thing. So I did get a fish tape in that, just a metal, it's called the fish tape. I don't know what to tell you. But in preparation for fishing these guys into that, I will be putting a penetration in the fiberglass on the roof, again, for this bulkhead, which I believe is appropriately sized. They are flexible solar panels, and I do not want to drill holes in the roof of my camper. What I will be doing is, on the back of these guys, right here, I have purchased this, I think it's VHB tape. I have my alcohol here. I washed the trailer a couple days ago, so I'm going to go wipe down the surface. And what the intent is I'll put the first panel right in front of where my Max Air fan is, and I guess I'll be putting these guys toward the front. So you can see the power takeoffs for this solar panel are external. They appear to be bonded on there. And then I'll run them. Again, this will be facing toward the front of the trailer. The other panel will be facing toward the back of the trailer. So all these connectors will go onto these guys, which in turn will plug into these guys, which in turn will go through the bulkhead and through what I was explaining before. But for today, hopefully I can edit this into some kind of deal. This is a 100-watt panel. Maximum operating voltage is 19.4, 5.20 amps, and that's kind of what it is. So I've done no math on this. I am not a math guy, but I think, given that these are all the same brand of components, with the exception of the battery, we will be in good shape. 200 watts of solar on the roof, 200 amp hour battery in the dinette, and also because it was cheap and easy, this BT-2 Renogy Bluetooth accessory will allow me to monitor the battery in operation. And rather than having to wire in some sort of shunt or whatever, this seemed like the easiest solution, and I'm all about easy. So again, with a little bit of anger, let's approach today's project. Maybe more frustration. I don't know if it's all out anger, but again, yesterday was a total wash, and now it's going to rain tomorrow. So let me get to what we're doing. So I'm going to clean the back of this first with my kind of clean microfiber cloth. Just going to use some isopropyl alcohol, a little healthy amount there. I just want to clean any chemicals off here, and I am going to put 3 strips along this and 2 strips here. They're not going to join. My plan is that water inevitably will be underneath this, and so what I'm going to do is I am going to leave space for that to come out of the thing there. And happy birthday to my daughter, Kira. She's many years old now, not sure exactly. Okay, I think that's how we're going to do it. I'm going to go ahead and do that to the other panel, and then we will start cleaning the upstairs of this thing. Again, one panel is going to be faced with these. Basically, the 2 panels are going to have these controllers sandwiched together. All right, I've got the center of it. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I put some lines to go by. I took a tape measure out. So let's see if I can find kind of where my little... Again, I took the tape off the middle rib, as it were, and hopefully we can get this all stuck down. Now, the only one left and should have probably put the outriggers down. All right, I'm just putting a bunch of pressure on these tape points because obviously we don't want this coming up. All right, so we've got her all stuck down here. God only knows if this is going to work. I'll report back later. But they look pretty symmetrical. They're kind of as intended. Again, we've got our, this may be a better view of it, but we've got our pigtails here, and we'll be connecting up our little extender joiner things, and then we'll be putting those to the wires to go through the bulkhead, which is kind of our next big project over there where that red tape is on the other side. My cable bundles. Obviously, if you're dealing with pre-cut cables, you got to make some interesting choices as opposed to terminating them yourself. But you also don't have the benefit of just sitting on your couch on Amazon and ordering all this stuff up. So let's talk about what I did. Okay, so these are the panels in my shadow that are VHB taped down. As you can see, they're pretty well affixed. These are the charging. I just put a little drip loop there because I had some slack. And then the other thing I did is these little brass eyelets in the corner, I used those to secure the cables on here, so they shouldn't get moved around too much. And then I used that tape, I cut it, and I put that on there. I went ahead and tightened those up on the cables, and we can go ahead. I say go ahead a lot. Whoa, little bad time to have vertigo. So I'm going to step inside here. This here's the 200 amp hour battery. Handy dandy ropes, positive, negative, at least if red and black hold true. It is very large. I'm a little cautiously skeptical on how this is going to work out. But that's the bits and bobs for that, as well as the instructions. This I also have not opened, but it should be pretty simplistic, and it is. This is a BT2 Renergy. That's a Bluetooth component. Wow, look at that. I can sticker something up too. I'll read the directions. I did, however, crack this open, this other thing open. And we are going to have a 30 amp Renergy DC to DC charger. And it is also an MPPT controller. So ideally, this will take multiple 12-volt inputs and convert them to an appropriate charge voltage for that battery. And that'll be that. This has been a rough day and a half. Anyway, you can see that. That is my Bluetooth connection to my Renogy 30 amp DC to DC MPPT controller. And what it tells me right now is we're hooked up to a lithium battery and it is charging via the converter currently. So what I did is I kind of set up a hybrid here, and well, I'll point out the really nice lights I've got now. See, I also installed some nice, what do you call it, LED lights. Anyway, sorry, I'm tired. It's late in the afternoon. And before, I was just going to start putting stuff together. And the buzzing you may hear in the background has always happened. I have an old school linear converter. To explain, a converter is the device in which, when you're hooked to AC power, like shore power, charges your battery and runs your trailer, really. This is, I'm told, a pretty old version. Not lithium capable. However, hold that thought for a second. In addition to the converter, what I have is the previously described Renogy charge controller / DC to DC charger. I have two 100 watt Renogy solar panels on the roof. It's not really sunny out right now, so I can't really show you any cool stuff on the readout. But I also have the Redodo 200 amp hour battery. Specifically, if you are wiring this to a Casita, where I found to mount it may be of some interest to you. And so forgive the wiring tangle down here. So this is your power bank there. This is your 12 volt fuses. This is AC wires in there. So when I say AC, what I mean is alternating current. This is the buzzy thing down here is the converter. Don't put your hands in there. And this is the 12 volt power. The way in which one of these trailers is powered is it basically has a parallel system. Basically, the AC and the DC circuits operate in parallel, like they're completely separate. The only crossover is through the converter to the battery. And maybe in my long way of speaking, what I mean is I have no inverter in this trailer, meaning like these shore power traditional plugs do not work when the trailer is disconnected from shore power. And I have not included any provisions for that to be a thing. Even when we're, sorry, I'm throwing on some more lights here. Get us a little tiny bit more light as I walk around here. But again, this place is an absolute mess. You can see my stove area is all awash with a variety of things and stuff. And we'll pan over here. So what I did, and it's really pretty simple, and to do this installation, again, this is not a how-to guide. This is a what has happened guide. So I don't want anybody to maybe watch this video and simply based on my installation, think or electrocute yourself doing it. But especially after I spent half the day chasing down a bad ground. So if you'd want to disassemble the interior of your Casita, these panels here, I'll push my foot against that. You can see how it wiggles. And then you can see the framework right here. There's simply a board kind of molded into the wall, and then there's another piece of wood down here, and then you can see half the dinette right here is up on its side. What I did is I wound up removing that front dinette piece, this dinette piece, which is, again, it may be difficult to determine, but it's sitting on its side currently, and then this back dinette piece that covers the water heater and the old battery box had to be removed. So I decided that I did not want to put my charge controller inside this cabinet, which there was room to do it. It's currently bolted down here. I'm going to dress these wires up so they look a little bit better and don't electrocute anybody. I'll probably cap those bare wires down there. But this all, if my plan goes to form, which hasn't been the case so far, that'll just rotate and go back there. Should I need to service the battery or look at wiring or anything like that, I will be able to take 4 screws out and just pop that off. So that's that's kind of my way of thinking. The other thing I did that may be of interest is I actually did fish. These are my solar panel cables. On the exterior of the trailer is a little bulkhead, a watertight bulkhead. And so I put that on. I stuck the solar panels on the outside, again, using the flexible Renogy units. I'm told, since I posted it on Facebook, that I probably should have done some sort of air gap there. And so I'll report back if that's a huge thing. I will say what I did do is I did wind up going from the hot from the trailer hitch to this post here, which is your alternator in. Additionally, this is where the converter is hooked up. This is where the solar panels are hooked up. And these are just little sensors. Read your directions. It'll tell you what to do. This is the BT2, which is the Bluetooth connection, which just goes in this RJ45 jack. This is a ground that goes right directly to the ground lug on the battery. Additionally, I've put a chassis ground here. And I have put, this is my 12 volt out, and that goes to the positive terminal. And through that, it's charging the battery, and then the house power is connected to the battery directly. So we'll see how this goes. The only other thing of note that I've really installed is I did put some inline fuses. It comes with what looks like a pretty robust fuse. I don't see it around here, but I have a bunch of from other projects. Thank you, Amazon. I had bought a bunch of other 30 and 40 amp inline fuses that use the automotive style fuse, and that's why I use these fuse connectors. As you can see, it's just a very common, available at any truck stop or hardware store, and so I opted to use those type fuses. And so what I fused is this fuse over here is going to be my hot wire from the car when it's plugged into the car. This is the hot wire for the solar panel. This is the positive lead from the solar panel, and then this is the positive lead from the charger. So should I get an over voltage, that could potentially blow. And all these will be accessible through this little hatch right here. And after I do some labeling tomorrow, telling me what this spaghetti is going to be, I should be in pretty good shape. But like I said, I just wanted to shoot a couple seconds of video before I start reassembling. In fact, I think I'm going to go inside and, well, maybe have a cocktail. All right, I just wanted to show you a basic view. I've shot some other footage of all this stuff. Inside here, I removed this cabinet, and it's like 8 or 10 screws to get it all. This all just pops off here. And what we have over here is the Renogy 30 amp DC to DC MPPT controller, meaning it will take DC current from one source, convert it to be compatible with the lithium battery, and charge the battery. Additionally, it will take solar input and charge the battery. Underneath where my behind is sitting right here is the 200 amp hour lithium battery. The downside to installing this in a Casita is the specific battery that I chose will not fit in the factory battery compartment outside the trailer. So you are going to be mounting the battery and losing, in my case, paper towel and toilet paper storage. So the other thing I added to this was a Bluetooth controller. If I grab my phone here, I should be able to link this up. Yeah, there's the app right there. Let me put my cheaters on, and it will look something like this, if you can see that. I don't know if it's going to focus on that. It may not. So currently my battery type is set to lithium. House battery volts of 13.6. It gives the starter battery volts, amps. House battery charging amps is it's charging at about 9.94 amps currently. My PV charging amps, which is my solar power, I believe that stands for photovoltaic charging amps, are 8.14. My charging volts are 16.8. I'm currently charging 139 watts, which I think indicates what I'm getting off the solar. So, oh, there's a color thing over here. Sweet. Okay, so let's finish this up. So if you're new to the channel, you'll know that I normally publish a lot more content. I haven't published anything in like a month or better, And there's a reason for that. Dana and I have been traveling, and I'm lazy and like to read books. I don't know what to tell you. I've shot a bunch of content. None of it's been super gripping, but I am going to try to put out this video on the electrical install. Again, this is me sitting on a couch with Amazon and my wife giving me approval to buy whatever I needed to upgrade the electrical in our Casita. So I hope you were entertained. I hope you don't take anything I say for gospel, because again, I can't state this enough. I am not a professional RV person. I'm not an electrician, not a licensed electrician, not anything. I'm a dude with a high level of, I don't really care, I'm just going to do it type attitude. So if you want to do a similar project, the consequences and or liabilities are on you, not me, because you listened to something dumb that I said. But again, having said that, I think it's going to be pretty effective. It appears to be, if the app's to be believed, I am currently charging a 200 amp hour lithium battery in my tiny, tiny trailer, and it should, well, it's going to be way overkill. So hopefully it will allow us to do some cool projects in the future. And getting back to the future, again, I've been lazy. I haven't edited any videos. I hope to soon, but the other thing I need to say is it's almost Labor Day weekend, and Dana and I are taking off on another trip with an undefined return date and time. So it's going to be at least a month or 6 weeks we're going to be on the road, and we're closing in on, it's Monday now. I think it's Monday. I'm pretty sure it's Monday. And we're leaving, I think we have reservations next weekend somewhere. So we're leaving Thursday or Friday. So time is of the essence. Hopefully I get this edited today, and I hope it finds you well, and hopefully I won't be as lazy in the future, and I will go ahead and edit some content up, because I know everybody's thirst, my hundreds of subscribers thirst for marginal content. So again, I hope you're well, and I need to actually get back to my podcast and clean up my mess. Have a great day. Whew. A little smoke in the air, but it's a Traeger, so it's all good. See that? I definitely parked it under the wrong tree. It is covered in bird poop and berries. I'm making this video out of rage. Rage in my heart. No, yesterday was frustrating.